Welcome to the State of the School 2025. We are excited to be able to present to you kind of our overview of what's coming, where we are now, and my name is Julie Wilborn. I am the Director of Formation and Finances for the school. Anytime we make any big decisions or we have any major hurdles to overcome, it's so important in our discernment to look back and say, look where God has led us over these last 15 years. You're here the same reason we are, because we are the great beneficiaries and the participants in this great work of God. We look at this, and I tell my students this all the time, we're set apart. And so what is our response to that? What is our response to being set apart? So with that, I'm going to go over just a statement of our current financial position, where we are. So for the purpose of our enrollment status, 3 sessions, all pretty even and all very full, as you know, as we've talked about. Our total enrollment then is 570 students. And as I mentioned, this model is built out. The option of expanding this model, because the nature of a school isn't one of those things where you can just add a little bit. It doesn't work that way. It's not the way this kind of business runs. What happens here, the magic that happens here, is because it's all built on relationships, and we're connected to the families, we're connected to the students, and it's maximized really at that 550 to 600 number. So we're done here. We have utilized every inch of this 4-acre campus really prudently and wonderfully, but it's done. This is as far as we go here. With that, let's move on to our financial outlook. So this is our statement of financial position. This is basically a balance sheet. What this is good for is really looking at how stable we are financially, big picture. It shows our total assets, our total liabilities, and our total equity. And what my takeaway from this is we are in a great financial position because our debt to equity ratio is very strong at just under 0.6. Our total debt, by the way, is all in loans for the buildings that we have, which we hope to have paid off in the next 10 years. Statement of operations are basically net profit. While our goal is not to make money, make a profit necessarily as a nonprofit, it is very important that we live in that happy bubble of money is not driving our decisions out of desperation. We can make the decisions we need to make. We can live by what our real mission is, rather than making money our mission, which is one of the most important things that we do. And while we do take money into account, obviously, with everything, our goal is to stay in that happy bubble of it's not pressing us. And that's where we are, and it's good. And this last statement that you're looking at is a statement of cash flows. And this basically just tells us how stable our cash is. How are we using your tuition dollars? And obviously, as schools go, our greatest expense by far is teachers and admin salaries. And then the other operational expenses are just costs of running a school. As of this past fiscal year end, you're looking at the strongest cash position St. John Bosco has had since our inception. That's great. And that really frees us up to be confident moving into the coming year, which has a little bit of uncertainty with it, unknowns, as we go into an expansion plan. Our greatest strengths right now are that we are financially in the strongest position we've been in since the school's inception, which is great. We have a reputation in the community of turning out a great product, that we're running a good school, that it is doing what our stated mission is. So the reputation that we have is also part of the problem, because we are getting a consistent influx of applicants each year. We did do a market study in the beginning, before we even looked at expanding, to see, have we saturated the market? It's what we really wanted to know. And the answer to that is no. It's just more, it's coming more and stronger, and we have reason to believe that will only continue based on the results of the market study. And it's not that we want to serve the whole world. We recognize that we can't do that, but we do have an obligation to be able to extend this gift to those within our community already. And when we have siblings on the wait list every single year, and some who've been on the wait list for 2 years, the potential for our own grandchildren not to be able to fit into a class in the pre-K, teachers who are trying to get their grandchildren in and don't have room, and alumni who are saying, hey, make room, I'm coming back. We can forecast that in 2 or 3 years we are going to be in a place where the business is in danger because we can't meet the needs of our own within our community. And that's really what drove this whole hunt for a possible second location. And as we do with all things, we looked at God and said, it's up to you, because ultimately it's your problem. Do you want us to protect what we have, or do you want us to continue to share it? And Then this Cornerstone property came available. It had been on the market before, the contract had fallen through, and it came back on the market, I think at a slightly lower price. Basically, God had to work 2 giant miracles in order for this to begin to happen, because it's like, there's no reason this should happen. And if it does, we absolutely know the author of it is God, and we're good, we have total peace. That is the origin of this expansion. We have great peace about it. It's a little daunting, absolutely, but so is this school, right? And we're just confident and trusting in his plan, because it's his problem, not ours.
A little bit about the structure of the SJBA North Campus is how it's going to work and how we're going to set it up or start it. We're going to start next fall with a Monday-Wednesday session. We are only starting pre-K 4 through 5th grade with the intention of adding 1 grade level each year. Eventually that campus is large enough with 13 acres, 3 buildings, a gymnasium, and an outdoor pool to house a high school, and we do plan to start the high school there in the next 3 to 5 years as the grades progress. It will grow organically, and it'll grow according to what the needs of the community and the students are. The structure of the SJBA North program will be very independent, but at the same time share the same structure of Shiloh. And that is, we will have the similar schedule, the similar academic calendar. Most of the events will be similar. The daily schedule will be similar, and they will also use FACS as their school information system. It's going to be led by a team of folks who will be independent for SJBA North. And we are very, very happy to announce that we are going to have a leadership team there that is similar to the structure that we have here at Shiloh. We are thrilled to announce that Mr. Rick Swigman will be joining that team. Mr. Swigman is husband of Kathy Swigman, and he's been a volunteer coach and mentor here at St. John Bosco Academy, Shiloh Road, for quite some time. He is going to be part of a 3-person team, including himself as Director of Operations, John Henry Spann as Director of Formation, and Kim McDonald as Director of Academics and Curriculum. In addition to that, Mrs. Dana Brenner, who is already working here on the Monday-Wednesday session, will assume Mrs. McDonald's responsibilities when it comes to academics, curriculum, and teacher interactions.
My name is Rick Swigman, in this community better and more commonly known as Kathy's husband. It's a phenomenal mission that we've fallen in love with since our students both graduated from here. And just witnessing the environment, the mission, the methodology, and the culture has been inspiring to me and my family. And when I was asked to do this, after a bit of a pause because it was a change in the direction I thought I was going to go, I was all in, and I'd love to be a part of this. I will be serving in the role at the new North Campus as Director of Operations, which is basically overseeing the management of the school overall and partnering with Kim and John Henry to make sure we fulfill the mission and do what we need to do to make the school thrive in the new North Campus.
Currently, I'm here 5 days a week at the Shiloh campus, and then next year I'm going to be moving Mondays and Wednesdays over to SJBA North as the Director of Formation. So I have insisted that I teach at least one class over there. I don't want to do just admin stuff. I really enjoy interacting with the kids. So my position in the high school, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, will not be changing at all. This place was something different. This culture was something different, not because of the philosophy, not because of the curriculum, all of which are great. It's taking the Bosconian pedagogy that is so unique, and I think we're spoiled here. We don't realize how great it is, and replicating that over there, day in and day out, and all the little minutia that's reinforcing the true and the good and the beautiful. Once again, that's why I came here, that's why I'm still here, that's why my kids are here, and why I'm so excited about going to North.
So our continued goal with curriculum is going to be to serve the grammar, logic, and rhetoric stages of learning. And that means that the materials and the methods that we use to teach with Socratic discussion, beautiful old texts, will serve the needs of the student and help build them to become good speakers and defenders of their faith and defenders of their intellect, quite honestly. Next year, based on some conversations we've had with our families, We're going to be in grades pre-K through 3, backing down a little bit with a softer approach in the secondary subjects, which would be history, science, and religion. And we're going to change that more to the wonder and awe of God's creation in those grades. And then they'll jump on into the higher sciences beginning in 4th grade. It'll be a softer touch on the little ones to allow parents to have more time with the older students who require a bit more time. We're going to add Greek and Latin roots back into the curriculum so that our 3rd grade students have a touch on that. And then that next level is our middle school. And those are the logic stage where children begin to learn to argue. And our curriculum and the methods we use offer them an opportunity to ask questions, to build their foundation of skills in math and language arts especially, to learn how to live their faith, not just memorize their faith, but live their faith. So that launches our middle school students into the high school where they begin to express themselves in the written word and in their ability to speak to people, to defend their faith, to defend life, and to go out into the world and make a difference. And that's really what matters to us. We need all of those things, but our curriculum really wants to support the family and grow the child into a beautiful human being, one who loves God above all else.
With that shift of Mr. Spann and Mrs. McDonald going to SJBA North on Monday and Wednesdays, we have a realignment of the administrative team here at Shiloh Road. And we're thrilled to announce that taking the place of Mr. John Henry Spann here on Monday, Wednesdays will be Chad Lange. We have the benefit of his beautiful treasures and his leadership on Monday and Wednesdays with the students and their formation.
Earlier this year, Vivian and Julie approached me about an opportunity to expand my role here with the North Campus, in full swing. They asked if I would be open to working on Mondays and Wednesdays, be full 5 days a week. Still doing the same role on my normal Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays with the high school and athletic director, but on Mondays and Wednesdays being a presence here as another administrator. Really be present in the entire community, especially when the middle schoolers transition to the high school, having that pre-existing relationship with them, just making sure that the students feel like they have someone that's in their corner and also someone here to make sure that the day runs smoothly.
Our greatest weaknesses and our threats to our long-term viability. I would say one of the ones that I think about a lot is the tax credit program. It's the only scholarship program that we have at our disposal, and we rely heavily on it. People are finding out about it, more people are applying. And the way this works is the state has set a cap of $50 million, and once that $50 million cap is reached, that's all the scholarships they're going to offer because it's their tax dollars. Once you've reached that, they start prorating it to every family who applies. If you notice, in 2023, the total pledged and the total approved was pretty close. The proration in that year was 78%. That means that whatever you asked to contribute, you were allowed to contribute 78% of that. Our actual collected is always even a little less than what we're approved for. But the concern that I have is if you look at this proration over years, 63% is 2024 and 53% is 2025. So we're getting less and less of what we ask for every year. And that's why we're trying harder and harder to increase the amount that we are applying for. This is one of the ways that we are able to hire and retain teachers so that they can afford to send their kids to St. John Bosco. A lot of our families are able to be open to life and stay at the school because even low tuition is not free. It's a lot of money at the end of the day when you add it up across the board. One of the ways that you can help with this is by making sure every year you're applying for the maximum amount. For example, this year, the maximum that a married filing jointly couple can apply for is $5,000. So even if you know you cannot give or won't give $5,000, that's totally fine because you're not going to be allowed to anyway. The other area of weakness that has me a little concerned is that We are not even close to fair market value for our admin salaries. And I don't say that because I want to pay us more. I say that because it's impossible for us to replace ourselves. So that is a danger for succession. So my goal over the next several years would be to pay down the largest loan that we have. Once we clear that loan, it'll give us excess of $250,000 each year in our budget that I can begin to even out those salaries a little bit so that we're not in danger moving forward of not being able to hire really dynamic, amazing people for our leadership.
Our two biggest operational challenges are the need for a large space for some of our events and recruitment of teachers and giving them the additional resources that they need to work in the classroom as efficiently as possible. Two ways that we're going to tackle the challenges from an operational standpoint are we have created the Mother Seton Teacher Endowment Fund, which we hope all families will be generous in donating to, because that fund is really going to sustain our teachers and support them not only in their teaching roles, but in their professional development and in their training. Lastly, we hope to tackle the need for a multi-use space with what we now have as our home gym at Cornerstone Schools. In order to maximize a multi-use space, we plan to roll out the Fund the Cause at the upcoming gala for the modifications that are necessary for the gym to make that a multi-use space for us for both campuses, Shiloh and SJBA North.
Well, we basically determined that on the size of the property of 4 acres, a gym was not possible, and I looked at all options. I discussed this with our neighbor, Mr. Walker, to see if we could acquire acreage. Because the land is in a conservation easement, the property cannot be developed or sold. We also talked to St. Brendan's, and based on their capital improvements and their overall plan, a gym will be proposed 10 to 15 years down the road. And the third option was to look at land and build a gym. Due to the cost of land and the cost to build a gym, which would be around $4 million, it just was not practical or feasible. After the options to secure a gym were exhausted, the Cornerstone property became available. It was clear that not only could we expand our school operation to that location, but we could use that gymnasium, which we've been renting as our home gym for the past 3 to 4 years. With some minor modifications, we realized that this could be our much needed multi-use space. Since that time, I've been working with a team that consists of an architect, structural engineer, and our contractor to develop a plan for the necessary modifications to the Cornerstone gym. The proposed modifications would increase the seating capacity, lay a new hardwood floor, install a quality sound system, and upgrade the painting and lighting. These modifications would allow both campuses at SJBA to have a home gym that would accommodate sports, masses, performances, dances, retreats, and even graduation ceremonies. We have priced out design, development, and construction documents for the modifications, and the project cost is $650,000. I'm happy to announce that almost 50% of these costs have been pledged to SJBA, with many of the pledges coming from outside our parent community through businesses and personal relationships. Here you can see plans and a rendering of the gym modifications. We'll be presenting the campaign for the remaining outstanding funds for the gym modifications as the special Fund the Cause project at the upcoming March the 1st SJBA Gala. We are excited about this project. Thank you so much for all of your support.
We are so grateful for the funds that we received at last year's gala, and we wanted to let you know how we've put those funds to good use. First and foremost, we upgraded or bought some new sacramentals for our weekly Tuesday morning masses and our First Friday masses and any other special Thanksgiving and feast day masses that we have here on campus. We also, as you probably know, upgraded and revamped our entire website to represent who we really are. We also upgraded our network system. We upgraded our bell system so that now we can have all of the timetables entered in both bells for the lower school and the high school. We also installed a card access reader on the east wing doors so that our teachers can take students in and out to do classroom activities outside in the bowl and get into the building but still keep the doors locked and safe. We installed 2 ceiling projectors in 2 of the high school classrooms, and we hope to also be adding those into some of the middle school classrooms as needed. We had an unstable swing set in the back playground where the primary students play. We tore down those swings and put in 2 new saucer swings for the kids to enjoy. And then last but not least, we replaced a retention wall in the large playground to keep the dirt from eroding onto the mulch area.
What are our goals in the coming years? What we grew organically from 20 kids around kitchen tables, and we just, stopgapped a lot of things as we grew. It's easy to look back now and see that a lot of those processes need to be streamlined and tightened up. So replication goes a long way to giving us that ability to streamline and become much more efficient. Financially, we're going to not be so much pen and paper and do a lot more electronic. As I mentioned, my other short-term goal financially is to pay off the large building loan in the next, hopefully, 6 years. That'll free up a huge amount of cash every year in our budget to return back to whatever the needs are in the classroom, and especially for administration salaries and teacher salaries. And then finally, the other goal is to build that SSO program to make it strong and much more reliable for the future, so that we can kind of guarantee we'll be able to continue to have our tuition low and the needs of those families who have need covered. We look so forward to what is on the horizon for all of us, and we just thank you for your amazing generosity for trusting us with your kids. It's really the best thing ever to be with your kids.
Community is not a dirty word. People who share the same faith and share the same morals and who are here together in this together.
When we get to walk through these doors and just be present in the formation of their lives, that is the greatest gift.
It's the people and the community and the love that the leadership and the faculty and the staff have for their students and for the families.
How much you're loved here. I feel that love the most even when I'm not at my best, and you just try your best to pass that on.
The human connection has such a special value that is irreplaceable. And I look forward to coming to work every day because of you, the people. I'm so grateful for you.
It is absolutely electrifying to me to give kids the truth and to let them know how in love with them God is. I cannot get enough of it. Your kids are amazing. So thank you for being part of what makes this place, the hugest part of what makes this place so wonderful.